Hi everyone, I'm Shelly from There's No Place Like Home at redheadmom8.wordpress.com. One of the hardest things for me to get used to when we transitioned into relaxed homeschooling was the lack of a schedule, because as a type A mom, schedules are really, really important to me. So I really had to just figure out something that worked for our family, that would be good for our kids, would be good for me, but that wouldn't make me feel like pulling my hair out. Because when it comes down to it, your typical time schedule that most people think of when it comes to not even just homeschooling, but regular school, it's not really conducive to a relaxed homeschool environment, because, you might be doing unit studies, your kids might be doing interest-led learning, or any number of things in a relaxed homeschool. So you really cannot use that standardized schedule that most people think of. So I'm going to share with you what we've been doing and what has really helped us, and it is homeschool block schedules. They're the key to structured flexibility. All right, so I mentioned that as that type A mom, I really needed to find something that worked for us, because I know that there are some relaxed homeschool moms. There are a lot of relaxed homeschool moms that are really comfortable with a go with the flow attitude. Come what may, whatever happens, happens. When things get done, it doesn't matter to them. But I am one of those people that I need to know what is going to happen, or at least have an idea of what is going to happen when, or at least in what order. And I have noticed that my kids have pretty much gone through the same thing. They also need that structure. And that's something that I had talked about in the video when I talked about our bout with unschooling. So I'm just going to share with you some tips today on why you might want to try a block schedule if you are like me and are one of those relaxed homeschool moms who really needs to have something in place to get your day going. And this is actually a question that I've gotten very often. People just aren't really sure how to keep things moving in their relaxed homeschool. Because again, when you're not doing things in a textbook and you can't do, like, say, English from 9 to 9:30 and math from 9:30 to 10 and so on and so forth, it can be a little confusing, especially to those who are starting out. So that's what I'm hoping to help you with today. And I have my trusty notebook here to help me. So here are some helpful tips that I have for you. The first one is what you want to do when it comes to block scheduling. And actually, I just realized that I didn't even tell you what block scheduling is, and you're probably like, what are you talking about, Shelly? Well, here's what I'm talking about. A block schedule is, instead of that list type schedule that you will see in a normal homeschool day, a block schedule is really where you will focus on blocks of time in your homeschool. So for example, you will put together some activities that you are doing, and you will fit them into segmented parts of time in your homeschool. And I know that this is really confusing when I describe it like this, but don't worry, I'm going to show you how I do it in our homeschool to give you a better example. But that's really what it is. You're just sectioning out portions of your homeschool day rather than doing everything separately. So actually, just so that I don't confuse you now, I'm going to describe to you right now how we do it. So we typically have 3 blocks in each of our homeschool days. Sometimes we have 2, but typically we have 3 blocks in our homeschool day. And the first block of time is what we call our morning time. And if you have followed my channel for a while, you know that we used to use morning baskets, and we actually have moved away from the morning baskets right now, but we still do morning time. And so for morning time, what I consider our morning time to be is when we do Bible and our read aloud together. And once that block is done, we move on to the next block. And that next block of time, that next block on our schedule is our together time. And this is for those days when we are doing unit studies together. So as you know, unit studies are multi-level, so you will generally have a few kids working together on that unit study. So this together time is that portion of the day when your children will be working together. You were possibly interacting with both of them at the same time at this point, and this is really the group activity time. So then, so once we're done with that, the third section, the third block of our homeschool day is what I call table time. Now I have to clarify that we don't really do school at the table. The only reason that I actually consider it table time is just because it sounds good, but that's really more of like a foundational time when they get that foundational learning done. So that is when my kids will do their spelling, their cursive, sometimes their notebooking, their math, their silent reading. So all of those 3 R's. You could also call this 3R time, but like I said, I thought the table time sounded better, so that's what I called it. But yeah, this is basically the 3R time. And that is, in a nutshell, our homeschool day. Those 3 blocks of time: morning time, together time, table time. And that is all that it is. So actually what I did was, tomorrow is our first day back to homeschool after our 6-week, actually this year it was 7-week Christmas break. So I've already written our schedule up on the board for your benefit, because I'm usually not thinking that far. Well, okay, I shouldn't say I'm not thinking that far ahead, because I had it written down. But usually the night before, I don't have their stuff written down already. It's usually going up like the morning of school. But anyway, I'm going to show that to you in just a minute. Okay, I'm hoping that you can see this. So this is our block schedule for tomorrow. And you might see over here all the times. I do not do that in our homeschool. That is something else that I did for your benefit, so that you could see the difference between a timed homeschool schedule and a block schedule. And you know, if you can probably even notice the difference between this. Would look rather intimidating to my kids, seeing that huge list of things that they have to do. And for some reason, when they see it this way, it doesn't affect them at all. They're so used to it. It doesn't seem like a lot, because they know that, you know, what they typically do is they will come up here and they will like cross out whatever it is that we did for that day. And it makes it seem like not as much work to them. So that is another benefit of block schedules. But so as you can see though, here I have our morning time, our together time, and our table time. And that is all that I do. And my middles and my littles both have their block schedules up. And as you can see, my littles only have 2 blocks tomorrow, because we alternate days for unit studies. Otherwise, our school days would take till 8 o'clock at night. So tomorrow, my littles, after their table time, will be spending the rest of their day doing interest-led learning. So anyway, so I don't really schedule that into a block, because that's just something that they do on their own. But as you can see, I do not have specific times for each of these blocks. You can have a specific time for the blocks, but I find that it's much better if I just have like a time that we start school and we just work through it as the day goes on. And then when we're finished, we're finished. Because I think that for us at least, if I have like a time schedule like this, where I think that I have to get done by a certain time, knowing me, I would do everything in my power to make sure that my kids stuck to that. And if we went over it, I would probably be panicking and doing everything in my power to get my kids to hurry, and that's just not good for me. But anyway, you can use a time schedule. But anyway, so that's all. I just wanted to show you that, and I'm gonna go back over to my seat. Okay, so I'm hoping that that gave you at least a little bit of an idea of the difference between a block schedule and a regular schedule. Now, I had mentioned that you don't have to have like specific times of day to do these block schedule, or the segmented blocks. But what I really do think that is important, at least if you have kids or you who need that structure of doing the same thing, you know, in the same order each day, that is what's important to us, is just doing things in that order. So in our homeschool, we always do morning time first, and we always do together time second, and we always do table time third. And how long each one takes doesn't matter so much to me. It's just that we like to have it in that order, because I like to have that set pattern every day, and my kids appreciate that too. So, and one other thing that I have to say, another tip that I have for you is that you want to put the things, your most important group first. Okay, so if you remember from the block schedule that I just showed you, our morning time is first. So the reason that I put the most important group first is because these block schedules are also really, really handy for those days that you have an appointment scheduled and you're not going to be able to get like a full school day in, or maybe if you have plans for that day or it's park day and you're only going to get a certain amount of things done. So block schedules are really helpful for that because depending on what time your appointment is or your plans are, you can say, well, we're only going to have time for morning time today. Or you could say something like, well, we're going to have time for morning time and together time today, but we're not going to have time for table time. So that's why it's really important that you put your most important grouping first. And this is going to be different for every family. I happen to put morning time first. Well, it's called morning time, but my kids are usually doing their homeschool in the morning anyway. So no matter when we would do it, it would still be morning time for at least my middles. But anyway, the reason that I put that particular grouping of Bible and read aloud first is because those are the main things that I definitely want to make sure that we get done each day that we do school, no matter what. Because obviously as a Christian, doing Bible with my kids is the most important thing. And read aloud is something that the kids and I really enjoy doing together, and it is a great way for them to learn and for us to just interact with one another. So, and then the reason that I put together time second is, if we have that time to get another grouping in, I like together time the best because, again, you have that bonding experience. And this is the time that we tend to do our hands-on activities, our fun activities, the things that they're most likely to remember the most. And, you might be surprised that I have our table time or our foundational learning last, meaning that it's least important to me. It's not saying that I don't think it's important. This is why I focus so much on it in those early years, like when I call my kids the littles. But the reason that I don't worry so much about it is because those 3 R's can easily be integrated into that together time. Math and language arts, they're those things that show up in all different areas of life. So really, no matter what you're going to be doing, your kids are going to be having exposure to that. So that's the reason that I do it. But again, this is something that is entirely up to you, but that's all that I would tell you is just to put your most important group first, second most important, and so on, for that main reason. Because if you have an early day or if something unexpectedly happens, at least you got those most important things finished. Now, some variations on the block scheduling. I almost forgot what I was talking about in this video. Some variations for the block scheduling are you could always do a loop schedule with them. So I'm hoping that I'm not confusing you, especially if you're new with all of these new terminologies, because I'm saying like loop scheduling, block scheduling, they're two different things. What a loop schedule would mean is, say for example, if I was going to go grocery shopping, so I knew that I was only going to have time to do morning time and together time. In a loop schedule, you would take that table time that you missed and you would tack it on at the beginning of the next day. So you just kind of do a loop with your groups. You don't do them in a particular order each day. You just kind of keep them going down the line. And then if you miss one, that one just gets tacked to the top the next day. So that might be an idea for some of you. Again, we don't do that just because we like to know, we like to have that set order each day. But that is definitely an idea, is loop scheduling your blocks of time. Another reason that blocks of time are really good is because they give you the perfect time to give your kids breaks, even if it's just a 5-minute break, a 10-minute break. You could say, hey, morning time is over, go take a 5-minute break, or go get a snack, or go run around the yard for 10 minutes, whatever. I just think that it gives you a natural pause to the day so that you can take those breaks that a lot of kids need and a lot of moms need and a lot of dads need, and so to me, the block schedules, they just kind of give a better flow to the day rather than having each subject scheduled. And it's probably just an illusion because you are still doing all of those things. I don't know what it is. So it's probably purely psychological, but I really do think that it just gives, it looks like you have a better flow to the day when you are doing things in blocks of time rather than doing individual things in really short chunks. And again, it is so relieving, such a breath of fresh air to not have these specific times like in your head that you want to make sure that you get everything done. But anyway, that's all that I have for you today. These block schedules are awesome for us. I have been using them for years, and I don't see us changing them anytime soon, because when you find something that works, you stick to it. So if you've been looking for a new schedule to use in your homeschool, this might be an idea for you. But anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and would like to hear more of what I have to say, I would love if you would do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave one down below. And if you like my work, you can check out my Patreon page and see what rewards I have for my patrons there. And I hope you have a great day.